photography. I love it. I have since I was a child. And around the age of, 21, 22, I decided to do it for a living, for a career. A career with finger quotes. But I'm proud of the fact that for the past 2 decades, I've supported myself and my family solely through the use of my cameras, I suppose. But what didn't happen is I did not get rich off of it. I fall into that starving artist category, though artist may be overreaching a bit. More like a starving guy with creative aspirations that remain largely unfulfilled due to kind of being mediocre, generally speaking. Also, I'm not starving, I'm overweight, so I suppose in no sense am I a starving artist. Although I loved photography as a child, I wasn't really allowed to engage in it. I would hold my mom's camera, I would look through it, but these are the days of film, and my parents didn't want me wasting a bunch of film, and rightly so. Fast forward to the age of 16 or so, I inherited a camera from my deceased grandfather, and I didn't have any money then. Occasionally I could scrape together enough money to buy a roll of film, and when I had enough money to get that roll developed, I would instead buy another roll of film because I wanted to continue shooting. That turned out to be a terrible idea. After I accumulated 6 or 7 rolls, and finally got the money together to get them developed, it turned out they were all blank, and I was heartbroken. So I put the camera away indefinitely. Never saw it again. Don't know what happened to it. Probably got sold at a yard sale. I wish I still had that camera. So it wasn't until 21, 22 years of age, I saw an ad for a job for staff photographer for the local newspaper, and I decided that that job was going to be mine. Never mind the fact that I had no experience, didn't know what I was doing, didn't have a portfolio. That job was mine. I was miserable in my office-type job, and I really needed to do something creative. So on a Friday, I set up an interview for the following Monday. And I spent the weekend mostly planted at the bookstore, reading every book they had on photography cover to cover, so that I could speak the lingo, sound like I knew something. I also completely faked a portfolio. I think it was entirely made up of images shot by my mom, who was a very good photographer. But they bought it. I got the job. It kicked off my photography career. Shortly thereafter, I got my first camera, which my parents bought for me. So if you're feeling all down on them because of what I said about them not wanting me to waste film, no need, because they helped me tremendously in getting my photography career off the ground. So I guess I told you all that backstory because I need to make this one singular point, which is photography was never my hobby. That's generally the path, right? You're a hobbyist and then you take it to the next level and become professional. I completely conned my way into a job out of nothing. And I did practice my ass off. I became pretty good pretty fast. I worked at it hard. I really wanted it. But it was never a hobby. Hey, Miyako. Outside. So fast forward to now. I've photographed a bazillion weddings and a bazillion portrait sessions, and it makes me miserable. I haven't liked it in a long time. Definitely don't want to do it anymore. What I want to do is experience photography as a hobby for the first time ever. About a year ago now, after spending a bunch of time trying to overcome a mountain of anxiety, I finally went out and photographed stuff, non-people type stuff. And it was wonderful. It was everything I imagined it could be. And then I got back home and I looked at my images and they were boring, bland, uninteresting, uninspired. Ouch. Ouch, mofo. Ouch. Then the anxiety came flooding back, and I locked myself away again. Another year passes of fighting the anxiety every day, intending to go out with my camera, but not doing it. About 6 weeks ago, 7 weeks ago, something like that, I finally got out there again. Sadly, with similar disappointing results. I don't know how to photograph anything other than people, apparently. That's a discovery that kind of sucks to make after a 20-year career. But this time I fought back. A lot of disappointing results, sure, but a few gems here and there, and those gems kind of clued me into what I ought to focus on. Then I would focus on that for a bit. From there, try to broaden out from that set, see what worked and what didn't, so forth. In other words, kind of start over from scratch. Not entirely from scratch, because I know all the fundamental stuff, but aesthetically I'm starting over from scratch here. And to my delight, this has been nothing short of the most fun I've ever had in my life. Also, the first time I didn't have the experience to know to appreciate the process, and now I'm appreciating the hell out of it, rather than being goal-oriented.